Morning. It's 5:38 a.m. on Friday morning here in Japan. And I am at Lawson. I think this is, well, the other side has been called out the north side. I'm on the opposite of the Gakuen side of Kusanagi Station. There's a Lawson convenience store on either side here at Kusanagi. And I like the other one too, but they don't open until 6 a.m. And the reason that they don't open is because they don't have enough staff. My wife was telling me that the convenience stores here are suffering from a severe labor problem. And so they have to, even though stores that want to be open 24 hours, like a convenience store, can't be open because they got nobody to work the place. This one, this is the busier side of the station. Seems to have staff. They've got 2 Japanese staff today. Yesterday they had a gentleman from Nepal, and earlier than that, earlier in the week, they had a woman. She was from Myanmar? Is that what you call it? Or does Myanmar changed? Is it a different name now? Finally catching a light. Hi, Twin Lamps. Hey there. There's a name I remember from the old days. Yeah, I'm here at Lawson Station. Got my morning shot, and I'm going to have a cup of coffee and sort out the day. So let me start off with a rundown of yesterday, and then the plan for today. You know what? Maybe this would be a great place to do my good life meditation every day on these lives. That idea just dawned on me. Because I'm right now I'm inserting the good life meditation in the how do I call it? I'm inserting it within the Retiring in Japan videos. You know, I'm making those videos every day as a summation of the day. And it doesn't feel quite right to put the good life meditation among that. Like it creeps in. There's too much of my, philosophy part of me. It creeps in. Those Retiring in Japan, people aren't, that's not the art that this is the first brand that I'm targeting a particular demographic. And this is I would call the Retiring in Japan videos my first commercial brand. What I'm trying to do is promote my book, Retiring in Japan. And, for lack of a better term, sell books, right? And I'm doing that by way of the vehicle of documenting and sharing the experience that Yumiko and I are having of going through the process of retiring in Japan. Molly, hey Molly, grab an American dog for me. You got it. Yeah, I do love those so much. So I think that's maybe what, and I'm sorry you're not here with me. I wish you were here. I'm literally just across from the school. You know exactly where I am, right? And I'm pretty much here every morning these days, because my routine. Mr. Bunko says I'm going to retire in Japan later this year or early next year. Love your channel. Keep it up. Well, Mr. Bungle, I hope that the videos are helpful and sharing the journey along the way of what this experience is like. It is not like I imagined. I can go into the details. I'm happy to. That's why I'm basically, making these videos. That's why I wrote the book. Well, I wrote the book, Retiring in Japan, to document the 2-year effort of doing it, right? Because I knew when I set out when Mimiko and I finally decided to return to Japan and to retire at the same time, I knew that we were doing a double whammy that a lot of people dreamed about. People dream about moving to Japan, and people dream about retiring, and maybe retiring on top of it, retiring in Japan. And I knew that if I took notes along the way, those notes would be interesting. So why not? Once I got far enough into it, I realized I had a book. So I might as well write the book. And I did. So the Retiring in Japan videos, that brand, is specifically to do that. Hi Willie, newbie to your channel. Thank you. Welcome. I've been meaning to make a video shout out to all the newcomers to the channel. There's a lot of you. And I hope I'm not overwhelming you with all the content. One of the brands that I used to have was the YouTube bullet train, where the tagline there was Japan at the speed of life, and I just fast and furious uploads, and I'm doing that now. I know with all my walking in Japan, a band in Japan, Lyle's brother, and now they're retiring in Japan, and then the shorts. Wow! So hope it's not too much. So anyway, back to that point. So what I was doing was I'm doing the daily retiring in Japan, and that's a very specific demographic. That's targeting people that probably don't give a hootenanny about my philosophical thoughts. They want to learn what is it like to retire in Japan. Specifically, what is it like to transition one's life? Typically, at the age that I'm at, 60 years old, around this time, this is, roughly the age of retirement, what's it like to do that and then resettle in a country like Japan? And there's the thoughts, the experiences, the journal entries that I could make are far beyond those that I'm doing. I mean, I'm writing a daily journal. I'm making the daily videos, which are averaging more than 30 minutes every day. But that's just scratching the surface. I mean, I have to hold back because there's so much going on in my mind. And now it's only going to ramp up because we're within 2 weeks now of getting the keys to our house. And you make when I need to get ready because once we have the keys, then what's the use of keeping the apartment? So, but we don't want to move into the house until the house is ready. So we need to go. So starting basically at the end of, we should get the keys on the 29th of January of this month. And we need 1 month notice to end the lease on our apartment. It's a lease that's on a month-to-month term. So we're certainly going to stay through February, but the question is, are we going to stay through March? We know that we need to rip up all the carpets throughout the house. Is fully carpeted. There's no Japanese rooms in this house. Fully carpeted. We're going to rip up all the carpets. The kitchen looks good. It's a big kitchen. The system kitchen looks like it's in good shape. I don't think we're going to have to do anything with that. I think the toilet looks fine. It's one of those, space age toilets with all the buttons and it talks at you and stuff like that. But there's something about, I mean, what is it the feeling about using somebody else's toilet in their house when the toilet here at Lawson, I mean, we have no qualms about as long as it looks clean doing that. So we may fuss with that. We may get a new toilet. In fact, that's what we're going to do today. Miko and I are going to toilet shopping today. That's why I'm busy today, Molly. We're toilet shopping. But the room that we're going to probably tackle is the bath. I don't know why, but the bathtub looks bad. Now, we've only been inside the house once. I don't know. I didn't get a close look at it. But I think we're probably going to redo that. So we're going to also, in addition to shopping for toilets today, there's some big, hardware stores here, Jumbo, Encho, Kynes, and we also have an architect that we're in contact with. And he's an architect / builder, and so we're going to start getting quotes. As soon as we get access to the house, we're going to get quotes from these various agents to do the work that we want to do. So we need to assess what that work is. So let's say, for example, we decide that we know we're going to rip the carpets out and do flooring. And we would like to do these things ourselves, right? I mean, hey, we're retired, right? What's the use of having all this time if we can't, roll up our sleeves and do the things ourselves? So we don't know how long that takes, right? So what if we decide that I think we're going to stay in the apartment until the end. It's month to month. We could just play it by ear, right? We could just stay in the apartment through spring and summer and just take our time. Although that would be costly, and it'd be nice to avoid that. We'd rather take those funds and funnel them into the new house. But we'll get quotes from the builders and et cetera on the bath, et cetera. But the other thing we want to do, and this is where it's tricky. So we have a total budget for everything. We have a budget to buy the house, and we have a budget for the reform, which I think that that's standard English as well. Reform is what they say here in Japan when they want to, like, remodel, right? So we have a purchase budget and a reform budget. And the house is coming in just at our purchase budget, which leaves us with just our reform budget. We were hoping to get a house, like the Machiya house that we were thinking about buying in Shimizu. If we'd got that, then that would have only cost us a fraction, a third of our home buying budget, and would have left all that money for reform, for remodeling. But this house that we're buying, they took the whole budget, the whole purchase budget, which was basically 10 million yen. That's what we had earmarked, 10 million yen to buy a house. And this is basically 10 million yen. So that leaves us with a reform budget. And we're budgeting 4 million yen for the reform. That'll go quick. So we also have something else that we want to do, which is we want to buy more land. The property next to the house is empty, and it's been empty for decades and decades and decades and decades. So as soon as we're done buying this place, which will be in basically Thursday, on the 29th, Thursday in 2 weeks, we should be done. We're going to set our realtor, we've already got him started, to try to figure out a line of action, a plan of action to buy the land next to the house. Now this area is really, really expensive place to live. I can't believe we got this house because it's like one of the most desirable places to live in Shizuoka. And we, it would have, the reason that it's optimal for us is it's where my wife's family grew up. I mean, this is where they live. We're literally 5 minutes walking distance from Dad's house. So, hey, Robert, I see believe in yourself. So this land, under normal circumstances, you could fit the land next to our house. You could fit 2 houses on that land. There's no way, under any normal circumstances, that we'd be able to get that land for anything under, with the 4 million that we have left over, 4 million yen we have left over. There's no way. But you may wonder, you may ask yourself, why hasn't the land been snatched up yet? Why hasn't it been bought and built upon? Because this is such a desirable area. It's the logistics of where it's located. So the community where we live, Yada, has the I always say it wrong, Yoshida River, probably saying it wrong, that winds up through it. And Dad's house is along the river, a little lower down the river, on the I guess what would be the north bank. Our house is a little further up the river along the same north bank. So literally to get between Dad's house and our house, you just walk on a dirt road between the two. There are paved roads that intersect everything. But where our house is the last house in this one group of houses. And beyond us, it's kind of like a wilderness, because what happened was the elevation changes and there's a stepped rice field behind our house, which is what gives 2 sides of our house are just rice fields. There's a stepped rice field, and the step is only about head high, and it's managed by the government. So there's by the Shizuoka prefecture. So there's no chance of landslide. They take care of that, and the river is flood controlled, so there's no chance of flood, or at least a slim chance of it. So beyond that rice field, then there's another step up in land, and that has all been built up. There's concrete footing around that. That's a little bit of ways from our house. And then the next tier of houses in the Yada Valley are up on that second tier, which is interesting because just on that second tier, not far from where the house that we're buying is the house that we tried to rent, that we were denied, which is the reason one of the things that went back to America. It wasn't the reason we went back to America. I can get into that. That's a whole other thing. But if we had rented that house, we wouldn't have gone to America because we would have got a dog, and there's no way we would have gone. But the fact that they told us no, that opened the door to going to America. So here's the thing. So imagine our house is at the end of, imagine this valley which gradually goes up into the Nihon Tairo mountain. It's been over the decades since the war, because after the war it was just all tea fields. That's why it's called the Valley of Tea. So if you hear me referring to it as the Valley of Tea, and then you see my videos, there's no tea. It's because it used to be the Valley of Tea. There still are tea fields, but they're further up. So imagine the urban planners developing all this what they did was they leveled part of the land, and it's a very gradual slope, but then they raised this part here, built a big wall here, tea fields here, our house here. Our house is literally at the end of this long kind of like a slope that includes Dad's house further down. So we're part of the same community. And then there's this wall, and then on another community up. It's kind of like steps, like that. But it's very gradual. You wouldn't even notice it if you weren't paying attention. Like if you were just walking up the road, you wouldn't even notice any of this. It would just seem like one gradual thing up. So here's our house. Our house is along the river, except for there's this plot of land between us and the river. There's no paved road to that plot of land. All there is a tiny little dirt service road that is used to service the river that nobody drives on. In fact, you can't even walk on it because it's all overgrown with weeds. When I left to go to Japan in 2014, you could still walk on it, but nobody does. And it's been that way since after the war, since they engineered this grand scheme of things. So what it means is that the land behind our house is inaccessible for the most part, and it was farmland at one time, a long time ago. If you go in there and you poke around in the weeds, there's a stone wall back there which terraced it off for the rice. There was probably a rice field. There's also 2 chestnut trees, big mature chestnut trees, and it's a huge lot. There's a citrus tree, I think it's a lemon tree. But all of that, it's all hidden amongst all the weeds, and there's a big bamboo forest on one side. And there's a trail that goes through the bamboo. Someone has been, over the decades, has kept a trail through the bamboo leading from our backyard behind our house through, Yumiko calls it the Totoro Trail. And then you can walk through the bamboo to the river. That's the land. No one's used it, seemingly, since after the war. Maybe no one's even used it. Probably the last time that land was used was before the great re-engineering of this land began to take place. And what happened was as the master city plan developed out the land, they left this little backwater thing, which happened to be behind our house. And the people who lived in our house before were not the type to, I guess they, some people just, live in a house, right? They don't do anything. But for Yumiko and I, we're looking at this and we're going, holy crud bunnies, there's this giant, enormous piece of land behind our house that no one's used for 70 years. The ground appears fertile. It was farmland at one point. Let's do one of 2 things. Let's either buy it or secure a long-term lease or rent it. Whatever, one of those 2 options. And we think we can do it. And our landlord and our realtor thinks we can do it as well. We know who the owner is. Well, there's 2 owners. Because there's 2 pieces. So we know who both owners are. He's already on it. And the whole village chipped in. So we went down to one of our friends to buy some tea. She owns a tea factory. And she was asking us about our house. And this is where I realized just how special it was to get a house in Yada. Her family's been, like my wife's family, been in the area. They're in the next community over, Kunioshita. So there's Yada and Kunioshita. She lives in Kunioshita. And our daughters were friends in kindergarten and elementary school, and so we're close. And Yumiko and the mother knew each other in school as well. So it's really tight. So we go. They're our tea supplier. Will says, "Ohayo gozaimasu." Good morning. So we're real close. So we went down to get some tea, and she's like, "You're back. Where are you living?" And I said, "Well, we're living in the mansion apartment." Mansion just means concrete apartment in Japanese. We're living over there, but we're buying a house. She said, "Where is it?" So I cut out the map and I'm showing her the stuff, and Yumiko's talking to her, and I'm going to show her. And Yumiko told her, and 3 times, our friend said, she said, "You got a house in Yada?" And then Yumiko's going on, and then I heard her say again, "In Yada?" And then I heard her say a 3rd time, "In Yada?" That's how exceptional it is, this community. And that's why we had never thought that we would have a house in Yada, because it's the place where the doctors and lawyers come to build their homes, not where the only people that like us that can live in a place like that are the legacy families, like my wife's family, that own. They were farmers here for 400 years in the Valley of Tea, and they had plots of land, so they could stay there because the urbanization, the gentrification of Yada, is probably gentrification is too strong a word, but the urbanization grew up around them, right? It's just perfectly positioned place, not in the city, a little bit out of the city, next to the art museum, next to the prefectural library, next to the mountains, and it's got beautiful hiking trails, convenient to 2 train stations. It's just a really, really special place. So yeah, so we got it there. And we've got this, we didn't just get the place, we got this with this incredible lot behind us. And I was telling Yumiko last night, I said, we maybe, because we only have 4 million yen in our budget for the remodel. And, I mean, okay, if we needed to, we could dig in more, but I have other monies earmarked for other things, right? So I don't want to, I'm a very rigid guy when it comes to planning. We have a budget for the house, a budget for the remodel, and we have a budget for the rest, everything else, right? I don't want to dip into the everything else stuff. But if we had to, we could. Here's why. I said to Yumiko last night, because if we could rent, because lots happen, if we can rent the land or get a secure 20-year or 20-year lease would do the job. I mean, Molly, I've told you, remember 10 years ago I was saying I had 20 good summers left, right? 10 of those are gone. I got 10 more good summers left, and old, that age. I expect the serious decline to begin in about 6 years. So if we can secure a 10-year lease on that back property, then Yumiko and I can enjoy the next decade of gardening in peace and splendor. But I'm thinking long term about Emily, our daughter, because eventually this place will be hers. And what if, for example, we lease it and then somehow some developments occur and the land gets sold to someone and they build a house? Well, then the house is going to contain someone's going to be right, instead of having a beautiful garden in our backyard, we're going to have another house right there. So I told Yumiko, I said, we need to buy this land if we can afford it. Because like I said, this is Yada. There's no way, if it was a normal lot, there's no way our 4 million yen it wouldn't even be half. And it's the size of 2 lots back there. We couldn't even buy a quarter of that. But given that that land is useless, this might be our opportunity to swoop in and get it and secure a long-term legacy to leave our daughter a beautiful home in one of the most desirable areas of Shizuoka with an incredible riverfront garden. And I was talking to Yumiko, to Emily about that as well. I was telling her, I said, remind her, I said, remember, Emily, one day this will be yours, and maybe she won't want it, right? Maybe she'll have her life in Tokyo, or maybe she'll choose to go back to America. I don't know. But in any case, it's her problem. If she wants it. Now, she can reject it. I mean, when we die, Emily could just say, to hell with it, I don't want it. She doesn't have to take it, right? But I mean, I think it'll be a good resource then. By then, Yumiko and I are going to have 20 years of DIY under our belt, remodeling the place. Hopefully we'll get the land and we can do a beautiful garden. Hopefully it'll be a place that she'll either want to live in or keep or whatever. And we'll see what happens. And there's a possibility she'll have the other house too, Dad's and Yoko's house, which is brand new. She could become a land baron. Oh, I think I saw another comment there, and then I better wrap this up. Oh, there we go. So believe in yourself says, well, Kurt, I think appropriate you live on that street. You are fully loaded with relationship capital. Yeah, that's true. But I'm, here in Japan, I'm a ghost. I'm that foreigner, in your own country. That I'm that man, that middle-aged. I'm not middle-aged anymore. I'm that old man that doesn't speak the language that you see once in a while and you wave at, That's me. So people, I don't really know anybody, except the one guy. He said hi to me this morning. I'm getting to be a regular here, and there's a guy this morning that said good morning to me in English. So Robert, I'm kind of, you say not yet. I'm really not that kind of guy. I'm not a relationships kind of guy. human connections are peripheral to me. They're like a little bit like noise in the machine. Going Alone was the right title for my book. You know, I really, I wouldn't go so far as to say I don't need people, but I don't want people very much. I'm happiest. Well, the videos have been flowing well. They certainly have. I'm at most at peace alone in my head because I don't have to listen to anybody else talk. I guess that's why this is easy. Hearing, you know, it sounds antisocial, but literally when I'm alone, it's like being in the mountains with the stream flowing and the birds chirping, and the peace that comes with that, and my mind just expands. And then suddenly, when I'm with other people, it's like you've got this. It's like the Charlie Brown thing. It's like, God damn it. So it's been like that my whole life. So I'm social on kind of a one-way street. Very zen, no attachment. Understanding that solitude is something to be very grateful for is a benefit. Yeah, but it's also this. I agree with both of those statements. But it's also been on a journey to realize that I guess that's one of the reasons my wife and I get along so well, because she doesn't need me to talk either. We come together and we have our, like yesterday we spent the whole day together. Yesterday we had fun like a young couple, but we can easily go off to our corners and just enjoy our time. Like, I'm pretty sure that when we have our new house, I'll probably be spending a lot of time in my room and walking, and Yumiko will be spending a lot of time probably downstairs in the living room, or she'll have a room next to me. So we have 4 bedrooms. One of them will be our bedroom. Then we'll each have our own little office, so to speak, upstairs facing the river, and then downstairs we'll have a guest room, and then there's the living room. And I expect that a lot of will be like, we'll come together and then we'll go apart, and then we'll come together for a dog walk, and then we'll go apart. And then we'll come together to go to Jumbo Encho to get some mulch for the garden, and then we'll go apart. And then we'll come together for dinner. And then we've had this routine for decades. I go to bed about 8:30 every night, and Yumiko stays up until about midnight or 1. And then I get up at 4 a.m. and she sleeps until 7, right? And then we come together and we go apart. That flow really, really works well for us. In fact, I told her the other day, I said, maybe I'll try to adjust my schedule and I'll try to stay up until midnight. And she looked at me askance and she said, really? She was like, hell no. You know, that's my time. It's your time with the dog, right? So I kind of got off course, but that's rather revealing of how Yumiko and I operate as a couple. And it's worked well for us for close to 37 years. Robert says, in my own best company. I'm my own best company, but I do love people too. But it depends on the level of vibrational energy happening. I like people too, but only for about 15 minutes. And then I've had enough. All right. Well, hey, all of you are here. I wish you all the best. I'm going to finish my Wanda morning shot. This is good coffee. I'm usually a black coffee kind of guy, but if I want something a little sweet and sugar and the cream, then I'll have that. And I found, I was going to do my Good Life meditation, tomorrow. I'll begin it tomorrow. I'm going to use this space for the Good Life meditation beginning tomorrow. In fact, I might change the name of this from Wabi-Sabi Live to Good Life Meditation Live. Oh, one more thing. The guys at Akiyamart, you know, the real estate, the Japan real estate website. I'm kind of a power user over there because I've been using their site. I used it basically to find our house. Although that's a story that's a little bit different. Hi Danielle. And then especially, I'm connected with them over on LinkedIn. And during the host search, when I would find places, I would post, and I would sometimes tag them. I found this house on Akiyamart, et cetera, et cetera. Here's the thing. My wife went and looked at it, blah, 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 blah. And we kind of connected, Take and Joey over there, the guys, the founders of Akiyamart. They sent me a T-shirt before I came to them back to Japan. Anyway, I wouldn't say we're entering a partnership, but they invited me after I visited a couple of houses on their website over the weekend and featured them on my website. They invited me to feature such videos on their YouTube channel. So I'm going to start sending, and they gave me a free subscription to their Akiyamart service. So I'm going to start using their service to target Akiya houses here in Shizuoka area. I'll go there, make a video, send them the video, they'll upload it to their website, which I think is a boon for everybody, right? I mean, they get the benefit of having someone on the ground here in Japan looking at and showing listings. There's actually a hyperlink to the listing, so you see my video. Oh, that's no problem. You can call me Ken. I appreciate the correction, Danielle. So you can watch my video. You can get a first-hand tour in the abandoned Japan softypapa style. And there's a hyperlink if you want to buy it on their website. And then also I get the exposure. I get the softypapa, and my channel gets the exposure on their website, which is a very popular website, the Akiyamart. They're blowing up, man. They're in Business Insider, etc. So this is a nice little synergetic partnership of sorts. It's not, there's no money, there's no transaction going on here. I don't work for them. We're not partnered in any way. This is just me using a service that I really like, them recognizing and appreciating that, and us finding a way to collaborate in a way that benefits both of us. So I'm going to send them. I've made 3 videos so far for them. I've got them all queued up. I'm going to send them over probably today. I'm going to finish with this, guys. I don't know what I was thinking. When I thought when I was retired, I would have lazy days of nothing to do. It is nothing like that at all. The days are busier. Day after day, we comment, how in the world did we ever fit 2 full-time jobs in our life? We have so much to do. The days just fly by. So I'm going to try to get those files to them today. But let's see if I can fit it in. Because, man, we are busy. With that, I'll finish. This was a good coffee. I'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, same coffee. Wish you all the best. Tomorrow we'll do Good Life meditation. Wishing you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care.